Thunder and Lightning greeted Touring 3 in 2007 as John Heinrichsey in the number 32 took the lead at the drop of the green. Kevin FANDOZZI tried to stay with the leader but spun in a dangerous spot. The track was soaked and wild rides were everywhere as John COSTELLO went around. Ditto for Wiley Timbrook. And then a big slide for Colin Cohen. When Heinrichsey was black flag on lap 10 for a sound level violation, Bob Huffmaster took the lead. 2006 winner Richard Gilhart tried to make lightning strike twice with another win and muscled by for the top spot. But a missed shift on the last lap let Huffmaster thunder by. Bob Huffmaster hung on to take the checkers, a happy crew, the winning medal, and his first Touring 3 championship. You like the idea of running showroom stock type vehicles in the SCCA, but you'd like to make some changes like wheels or tires or suspension, then you need to look at the Touring classes. And today we'll talk Touring 3. Rob Hines thinks the Honda S2000 is the car to beat, and he should know. He won the Southeast Division. He also has a national championship to his credit in 1999 in Touring 2 category. He'd like to add another one this weekend. John COSTELLO also thinks that Honda S2000 is the mount to have, and every time he comes to the runoffs, he just gets better. His 2008 season, 7 times out of 8 races he's been on the podium, and he's taken 2 wins as well. But when you talk about winners, look to Rob Huffmaster. He is the defending champion in the Touring 3 category, but interestingly enough, he has not turned a wheel in that category this year, instead focusing on MX-5 Cup. That experience, he thinks, will pay off here at the runoffs. Dorsey Schrader?
Well, Brian, this reads like a title fight. In this corner, Bob Boileau, undefeated, 5 starts, 5 wins, and one of those was the June Sprints, looking for his first national title. Next to him, Dwight Fates, also undefeated, 5 starts, 5 wins. Can he win in the Subaru? If it rains, it's all-wheel drive. Look out. Then the Chevy Cobalt, supercharged Cobalt for Kevin FANDOZZI. Kevin looking to get his first national championship. Can they win today? We'll find out next.
Each year, competitors in the SCCA gather to crown champions in 25 different classes. To many, it is the Olympics of amateur road racing. This year marks the 45th time that competitors will battle for bragging rights and gold medals, and it all takes place at Heartland Park, Topeka, just outside Topeka, Kansas. On a beautiful fall day, the competitors in the Touring 3 class are preparing to do battle, not only with each other, but with 2.5 miles of twisting asphalt that can wreak havoc on the unsuspecting. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Till along with Dorsey Schrader. Chris Neville and Mike Johnson are going to be down on pit road for you, and this Touring 3 battle will be spectacular. Over 22 competitors I should say, have entered this event, and we've got all kinds of competition, all different types of cars as well, but they gotta all do battle on the same racetrack, Dorsey.
And Brian, we got a really fast front straightaway leading down to turn 1 and turn 2. Now those are opened up from what they used to be. Turn 3, 4, 5, 6 up to here, a rhythm section, really, really fast. Now, when you get back to this corner, watch for action in these particular corners where it tightens up and braking is of an essence here.
Well, we said something about touring cars or the Touring 3 class being a lot like showroom stock, but there are modifications that you can allow.
Well, yeah, most of these are safety related, you know, as far as roll cages and so forth, but you can do wheels, tires, suspension, and there is, and speaking of tires, a tire war going on between Hoosier, Kumho, BF Goodrich. I mean, a lot of different ways of looking at what you think is the right combination for your car.
Well, let's get the stories from pit lane with Chris Neville.
Well, Mike Kramer is the 2003 SSC champion. However, he has never had good luck at Topeka, and he crashed last year. In the morning warm-up today, he had a fuel line failure. They were ready to pack it up and go home, but all the friends and the crew in the paddock said, no way, man, we're going to get you to the grid. It took about an hour to change out that fuel line, but they got him down here, and Mike says, hey, that's what SCCA racing is all about. It's all about friends, family, having good competition. These guys hoping to turn that luck around and be the only Saturn in the field making their way to the front. Mike?
Well, thanks, Chris. Back here in 18th, I've got Lynn Griffiths. She's in one of these beautiful Mazda RX-8s. Now, she had 2 wins this year on the way to her National Northern Pacific Divisional Championship. What I like about her, she's a school principal at the Henry Ford Elementary in Redwood City, California. She said no extra credit for watching the race this weekend, but she says all of her students love the fact that their principal is a race car driver. Guys?
We talk about the camaraderie in the paddock of SCCA Club Racing, and one of the great things that is definitely great about it. The other thing that's great, the battles on the racetrack, and we're going to be back for Touring 3 and the battles for the 45th running of the SCCA National Championships from Heartland Park, Topeka, right after this. Throughout 2008, drivers from 9 different national divisions have fought for division championships and the right to compete at one of the most prestigious road racing events in the country, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. You come to the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, Dorsey, to win here is a lifetime achievement or a lifetime goal for a lot of these competitors.
Well, it is the Amateur Olympics, no doubt about it. And these guys have gone through a year of racing just to get the right to run here against one another for this championship.
And this is going to be a great run today for Touring 3. We've got different manufacturers, different tire manufacturers, and it should be a slugfest. To lead the field off, it's going to be Rob Hines on the pole, and we'll take a look at the rest of the top 10. Hines leads the field down in his Honda S2000, then the Cobalt of FANDOZZI alongside of him. 5 of the top 6 drivers have division championships to their credit in 2008.
Yeah, and you look at the cars up front there. You got the Honda 2000, you got a Chevrolet Cobalt. That's a supercharged car. You got a Subaru Legacy 4-wheel drive with a turbocharger. A Chevrolet Cobalt rounds out the top 4.
Rob Huffmaster down at 7th. He's your defending champion. You'll look through the second 20 there. Good drivers abound. Back in 17th and 18th, Richard Dickey, Lynn Griffiths. They too are divisional champions. So a lot of talent out here in this Touring 3 field.
Well, you've got 5 past national champions too, not all in this class, mind you, but there's 5 guys that have already won a championship and have that to their credit.
And the talent is definitely deep. We got stories from down on pit lane. Chris Neville.
Brian, you talk about this being the Amateur Olympics, but we've got some pros out here too. Eric Van Cleef was an amateur champion back in '91, but then went on to some pro racing, mid-90s, IMSA endurance racing, then went on to do some NASCAR, Goodies Dash running for about 3 years, then back over to Grand Am Cup running for a few years. Now he's coming back looking for another national championship. This is his first time to Topeka. He said that little Mazda works great on the backside of the track where it's very technical, but down this long front straightaway, totally out-horsepowered. Mike?
Kudos to SCCA Rules Committee, because in the top 6 we've got 3 different drive lines, front, rear, and all-wheel, 3 different tire manufacturers, and they're all separated by 0.3 of a second. And keep an eye on Brett Spod starting in 4th place. He's a multiple karting champion. He's actually made the move to sedans, hoping that this will further his career instead of going the Formula Car route, possibly into Grand Am, Coney Challenge, or maybe the ALMS. Guys?
Yeah, and he's only 20 years old, so you look at this kid, obviously a lot of talent in go-karts. Now we're going to see what he can do in a car. Sits 4th right now in that Chevy Cobalt.
And he's in a front-wheel drive car, so he's going to gain the experience of what that's like. Of course, it's totally different than rear-wheel drive or a go-kart would be.
Yeah, the karts that he's been running. Right now, the field gathered up behind the pace car, and it is going to be a good one. Some of the drivers think that Honda S2000 is the car to have, but that Chevy Cobalt, we've seen it all throughout motorsports this year, has been very strong. And look at him on the inside lining up saying, let's make it a Chevy train down to turn 1. The green flag waves. We are racing in Touring 3 as the field streams by. The Cobalt, the 34, FANDOZZI with a jump. And some contact, Dorsey.
There was definitely contact between the yellow 12. Spod got pushed outside.
I think that was Boilo and the 43 that had that little bit of rubbing going on as they ran to turn 1. But look at the lead that FANDOZZI has. Man, he has jumped out to a big one, and now trying to bring one of his teammates with him there in the 12 car. That was Spod trying to work his way up.
Well, I was talking about turn 1 and how they took the tightness out of the corners and opened it up, and as a result of that, we've seen a lot of fender rubbing and some big accidents there, by the way.
Man, Hines wants the front position back. He's looking up the inside there of Spod as they came through turn 4, so he's trying to make amends for the start that he didn't get. And right now, FANDOZZI just checking out, but look at this battle. 27, Huffmaster, that is your defending champion in class, and Boilo in the blue and white. Oh, and these two guys getting together. Boilo getting the worst of it.
He's just been roughed up since the start. Bob's just been hit from behind and on both sides, and you know, I'd be like, where's the bullseye in my car? What's up?
And he's going, settle down, guys. We got 18 laps to go around here, and the Subaru wide there.
That's all-wheel drive. He's okay.
Through the grass, the number 78. really getting the worst of that. That's Dwight Fates. Fates, remember, started in third, but he has been shuffled well back now. That start really got mixed up, and more cars in the grass. Boilo again.
Oh, can he get it? Yeah, he saves it, but boy, Bob Boilo in one lap has had 3 wrecks already.
This is
just
a first lap he'd like to forget, and he may get contacted again, but no, the 00.
Wow, this is really bumper cars, and I don't know what this is all about. You can't win championships knocking each other around, that's for sure.
Nathaniel Ellis right there in the 00 gets into the side of one of the other cars. Didn't get a number on it, but right now the leader, the 34 of Kevin Fandozzi, going, I'm so glad I'm out in front because it is all hitting the fan behind me.
Did you see that thing take a hop over that bump between turn 1 and there? Rear wheels came completely off the ground.
Power of the little Chevy Cobalt really showing its stuff here at Heartland Park, Topeka. Cobalt's out front, Fandozzi, then Brett Spaude, both running the Cobalt, then Rob Hines in his Honda S2000. But almost 1.5 seconds at the end of the first lap for Fandozzi, so he really laid down a good first lap, Dorsey.
I think possibly Chad Gilsinger just took that position. I know Rob Hines is right there. The 07, that's your third place battle. These guys just swapped positions a minute ago.
Cobalt's 1 and 2, Honda S2000s 3 and 4. These guys, if they can work together, they may be able to claw their way back towards the front. But right now, it has been a wild first lap. Guys need to let things settle down a little bit as Rob Hines holds on to third after qualifying on the pole. You talked about tire battles. Hines on Kumho tires, as is Fandozzi. Let's take a look.
Mostly but involving Bob Boilo in the 43 car right there. You see, he was talking to me too about how beautiful his car was. You know, it was the best looking one, and unfortunately they're taking the shine right off that car.
Yes, indeed. Man, he does a good job. You said it, Dorsey. I think he wrecked 3 times in the first lap. He just hadn't hit anything yet. I think he got touched there.
I think he did too, and unfortunately that stacked up these two.
Kind of came together and stuck there, but here's the battle for third. The 2 S2000s, Rob Hines, defending champion, and then Chad Gilsinger in the yellow 07, the 2 Honda S2000s. For more, we'll head down to Chris.
Brian, I was talking to Rob Hines right before the start, and this thing is playing out exactly how he told me. He said, look for those little Chevy Cobalts to run out front for the first few laps. They are very fast. They've got a lot of torque, but the Honda is very consistent, so we're not going to get worried about it. We know after five laps or so, we think they're going to start coming back to us. So I think this thing is playing exactly how, at least how Rob had strategized the race. So let's watch it a couple more laps and see if those Cobalts start coming back to the Hondas.
Yeah, good point, Chris. You know, with these different configurations, some of them all-wheel drive, some of them front, some of them rear, different tire battles going on here. That's what's going to determine what happens toward the end of this race, who can stay on that tire the longest.
Patience is a virtue, and we might be seeing a little tortoise in the hair from Heartland Park, Topeka. The Touring 3 battle underway. Stick around.
Winning an SCCA Triple Crown is a massive achievement for any racing driver. But for the Boilo family, it could mean a whole lot more. Now, you guys are racing for MS. Tell us why.
Well, my wife Kim was diagnosed with MS 20 years ago, and ever since then we've been running 1-800-FIGHT-MS in all of our cars, and it would really honor me if we could pull it off this year and get the Triple Crown, and I could get Kim that coveted victory lap.
And for you, it's got to mean a lot to be able to represent your illness and spread the word.
Oh, absolutely. And we've met people who have come up and said, it's great, you're racing for MS. My mom has MS. Or I'm like, well, there's several of us.
Well, guys, you couldn't ask for a much better story than this.
Well, Bob Boilo and I go way back. I raced with his father, and his father, who is deceased now, his first car, a Honda race car, it was the oldest Honda race car in the United States, now sits in a museum. And Bob Jr. here told me if he could win the runoffs, they would take this car away from him and put it side by side with his father's car in the Honda Museum.
Boilo right now trying to hold down the 6th position. Tire marks all down the side of the car, and he is on the track, in the grass, over the curbs and everything else. Look, what is that on the car behind
I just saw that. He's picked up a piece of a banner, and it's blocked off the left side of the radiator completely. In that, you know, it looks like it must have been a banner from a lot of smoke right there out of Bob's car. One of the banners that they stick on the walls around here or something must have come loose, and it's wrapped over the front end of that here. You see a good look at it.
See it right there. That's the 84 car of Eric Van Cleef. And I can't tell what it is, Dorsey, but it is definitely big, whatever it is.
It might have been a signboard. He might have been off the road and collected it, you know. Don't know.
Seen that before, not only in SCCA competition, but pro competition as well. But it is well and truly stuck to the front of that little Mazda of Eric Van Cleef. You talked about a tire battle early on. FANDOZZI continues to lead. He's got Hoosiers on his car, then Spad, then Gilsinger, and Gilsinger running the BF Goodrich tire.
Van Cleef's getting added downforce from this. He's got a good front grip.
But only on one side. I guess the good thing is
it didn't do the radiator.
It's not in front of the radiator, but it is in front of the brake duct on the left side.
Yes, you're right about that, and that could be a problem. That would significantly, what was that word?
Significantly,
yeah,
I think
that's what I meant. That would improve your downforce in the front quite a bit if you were going really quick.
Well, if he can catch up to Bob Boileau, he may be able to remove it with the help of Mr. Boileau's bumper.
Yeah, or just get up there in the void of air behind the car and let it come off.
These two guys having a good run. You'll look a little bit further back. Wiley Timbrook slides by. Then you see the white Mazda, the 82 of John Costello.
And he's having a good battle for 9th place with Lee Neffenegger.
Neffenegger right behind him there in the black car. You see him trying to catch up. Man, that car really the big slide off of turn 2.
Well, that turn 1, 2, since they opened it up now, I mean, it's really fast. This whole end of the racetrack is very fast. In fact, until you get over to turn 10, you know, you're just really working the throttle and balancing the car through these long corners. Then from 10 back to the straightaway through 14, it's really heavy braking and much more, you know, where you can make a pass. That's a problem on this racetrack right now, is it's only that one end you can make an advancement to try to get by somebody on a pass.
Neffenegger, another one of those drivers thinking the Honda S2000 is the way to go. Now, interestingly enough, you see a wing on the back of his Honda S2000, and I don't see it on any of the other cars, so I'm not exactly sure. Well, there's one right there. Not all of the cars are running, so it's interesting. Different configurations of the same car.
Year, you know, different year cars. Some 1 year newer, some sport package, or you never do know with these manufacturers what they're going to throw at you next.
Chad Gilsinger right there running third right now in his Honda S2000. Right behind him, Rob Hines. Remember, Hines won the championship last year. I'm sorry, that was Huffmaster that won the championship last year. Hines, a champion in his division this year, so he has had a good season on the Kumho tires, trying to take that car to the front. Gilsinger in front of him on BFG, so both Honda S2000s, but different tire manufacturers. You talked about it. There's going to be a tire battle here, and it is shaping up. Kevin FANDOZZI continues to lead at 1.5 seconds in hand in his little Chevy Cobalt over Brett Spad, then Gilsinger and Hines. A great Touring 3 battle. Tires as well as manufacturers involved here at Heartland Park, Topeka. The goal for the 22 entered drivers today is to lay claim to the gold medal in Touring 3. But to take the gold, they'll have to do battle with each other and this Heartland Park circuit for 18 laps. The battle for Touring 3 rages from Kansas. The SCCA National Championship Runoffs, the 45th year of competition for the gold. On the racetrack right now, your leader, Kevin FANDOZZI, in the Chevy Cobalt. Not put a wheel wrong from the start. Dorsey got a great start and jumped out in front and has really not had any competition. About 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds in hand since the drop of the green.
And that's to a team car. That's to another one of the Cobalts right behind him there. And of course, we heard the report earlier on that the drivers thought that these Cobalts would run off their tires a little bit after they went past 5-6 different laps. It's lap 5 right now. I don't see anything going wrong at all.
I don't see anything either. And then if you look at the cars, I don't see wheel spin. I don't see understeer. The handling seems to be spot on. If the tires were going to go away, you would think that we'd begin to see that. Now, 5 laps in the books, about to be 6 in the books. So right now, the cars look to be perfect. Mike?
Well, Mark Justy's one of the crew chiefs, one of the mechanics for Phoenix Performance. So you built all these cars. The Honda guys say they expect your tires to go off in a few laps, but you right now pulling away.
No, I don't think we'll have a problem with tires at all this year. We ran good last year except for sound. He'll do it. If Kevin doesn't do it, Brett will do it for us. We'll bring a Cobalt from General Motors in first place.
Well, there you go. Cobalt car's feeling pretty confident right now.
Of course, that Chevy Cobalt has run in pro competition, Brian, over the last couple of years. It's won championships, so it doesn't surprise me that GM Performance has a couple of these cars running as well up front as they are.
Well, Phoenix preparing those cars certainly knows how to do it. They've got another car in the field with Joseph Aquilante, who heads Phoenix Performance, and his son, Andrew, has won a national championship. So these guys know how to build cars. These two guys certainly know how to race them. Rob Hines right there in the gray, and then the 07 of Chad Gilsinger. Now that position has swapped as Hines has gotten back past Gilsinger, but two Honda S2000s, but as I said before we went to break, two different tire manufacturers.
And the one has the wing, the second place one's got the wing that we were talking about earlier. You know, that in theory, if the wing works, should give him downforce on the high-speed stuff, but also add a little drag. Right
behind those guys was Rob Huffmaster, a little bit further back down the racetrack several seconds, so Huffmaster trying to work his way back, but these guys having a great scrap for third. Now, these guys, as we've looked at the gap, Dorsey, it is closed between Brett Spaulding and Kevin Fandozzi, but for Gilsinger and Hines, they're about 5 seconds behind that lead battle.
And Boileau now has just taken over the position from Rob Huffmeister, so he's up to fourth. And he's probably in the mindset of, can you just leave me alone? Because, like I said, he got roughed up something fierce on the first lap.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you think about Huffmaster, he's going, well, wait a minute. I won this thing last year, and I had a good battle, but, you know, I was further up the order. And right now, where did all these guys come from? Because I'm working as hard as I possibly can, and I'm only running in sixth.
Of course, last year it was a rain race. It was just terrible conditions, and that might have favored his driving style or maybe even his chassis setup.
Well, you saw the blue flag right in front of our camera there as the cars came down the front straightaway. Now, corner workers have to communicate with the cars right there, and we had some of the leaders coming through some lap traffic. That blue flag with a yellow diagonal stripe, Dorsey, tells those slower cars that faster cars are on the way.
Yeah, it is, and it's just an advisory flag. You don't have to do anything about it, but it's the corner worker telling you that the fast guys are approaching, so you can try to time them to get by you without interfering with their race or hurting yours.
Now, you spend a lot of time racing with teammates, multiple cars on the same team. That's exactly what we're looking at here for Brett Spaulding, who is running second in the 12 car. Are there going to be team orders? Will he be allowed to go past Kevin Fandozzi for the lead? Dorsey will give us the answer about team orders when we come back to the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Touring 3 race recap. The green flag flies, and Kevin Fandozzi and his Chevy Cobalt gets a huge jump at the start. Thank you very much. I think I'll take the lead, but the rest of the field hard fought as they head down to turn 1. Bob Boileau in his blue and white and orange little Honda getting beat on, taking a whaling, Dorsey.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only one. Take a look here. It just kept on going for Bob. This is a great save, but of course it's a loss on one corner and a save on this one.
I just want to finish the first lap, Bob Boileau says, and the Triple Crown would be nice if I can hold on to it, but then a problem for the 61, Ian Stewart. He gets together with the 00, Nathaniel Ellis. They have their problems, but they're back on track. But talk about on track. Here's your battle for the lead. We were talking about team orders, Dorsey. You've been there when you're running second and you've got the faster car. Are you on the radio?
Well, you know, I don't think it'll make any difference here because it's not a points battle situation. They both got here to win the national championship, and it's all the marbles. So I would say best man wins. I'm sure there's team orders about one thing: don't crash each other.
2 yellow Cobalts had better come back at the end of the race is probably the only thing they're being told. But hello, I'm here. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, these guys will race head up against one another and try not to wreck one another, but I think Fandozzi's car is not the quicker of the two right now. It looks to me like Brett's car has really come on in the middle part of this race.
And for the folks at home, that little bump there was just incidental contact. I don't think he's trying to move him. They just get into the braking zone. They're so close together, it's just a little bit, hey, I've got a little bit more momentum, and just a little love tap there.
Unfortunately, it was right at the apex where you don't, you know, where if you did want to take somebody out, that'd be the right place to do it.
I think Spaulding, you said it, Dorsey. He's just got the better car right now, able to roll more speed from turn in to apex, the middle part of the corner, and just happened to have Fandozzi in the way right there.
That might be a result of some chassis change between the two cars, the drivers, the way they like to drive. Oh, takes a look on the inside here, Brian, and pushes. A little contact again as Brett pushes his teammate up the front straight.
It's kind of all happening at the same spot, though, from the middle of the corner. That rolling speed that Spaulding seems to have seems to be just a little bit better. Whether he intends to or not, you got to think that it's going to get into Fandozzi's head after a while. If you keep getting that little tap, 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 your eyes are going to start moving to the mirror a little bit more.
Yeah, that mid-corner speed that you're talking about, you know, he's got really good grip right there at the apex, more so than Fandozzi seems to. Oh, a little out wide there.
Now, they are Chevy Cobalts, and so they are teammates as far as that goes. They don't come out of the same stable. They were built by the same group, guy, right. Same group, but they're not running underneath the same tent. They are running for the same manufacturer, so you know, maybe that helps kind of answer the question about how nice will they play with each other.
Well, like I say, when you get here, all bets are off. You know, it's one race at the end of the year for the championship of the United States. So every man for himself.
Here we go, the battle for 8th. 82 of Costello, 08 of Neffenegger. Good battle here, 2 Honda S2000s again. Everybody thought this would be the car to have, but the Cobalts run up front, but we see plenty of them throughout the pack. These guys doing a good battle here.
Well, surprisingly, you know, the Honda was on the pole. It was the fastest speed-wise, but once those Cobalts got in the lead, you know, they've just been dominant. Now you got to ask yourself, no, they wouldn't sandbag, would they?
No. Neffenegger, a best of 2nd in showroom stock B in 2007 at the runoff, so he certainly knows how to pedal a production-type car, one of these touring cars. I mean, showroom stock B, you're just not allowed as many changes, so he's very familiar with this type of car. He's got one that handles a little bit better here in Touring 3, but look at the run that's there. And talk about a run. Check this out. A little rubbing down out of turn 14 onto the front straightaway.
Now that time it was definitely, you know, I'm in your door and I'm going to push you off the track if you don't let me come alongside.
As a matter of fact, you look at the right front of the number 12 of Spaulding and you can see the tire marks on it. No love loss here. Whatever team thoughts they had in mind before as far as manufacturer stuff goes is out the window. It is on.
Spot is much better on that last corner, you know, that turn 14-13 complex. He is really a lot faster through there, but for whatever reason, it could be car setup. Kevin Fandozzi is better on this end, the fast end of the racetrack.
I'll tell you what, when you look at where the damage is on Spaulding's car, you've got to be concerned about the left rear of Fandozzi's car because there's a lot of bumping going on, a lot of grinding, and it's all for the gold in Touring 3. Here's the battle for the lead. It doesn't get any better than that. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more of it yet to come. The SCCA National Championship Runoffs. For the 45th time they run here, and for the 3rd year they run at Heartland Park, Topeka. It's all for the gold, and today it's Touring 3, and the battle has been intense up front from the drop of the green. 25 different classes will do battle for gold. The battle for gold right now is between Kevin Fandozzi in the number 34 and Brett Spaulding in the number 12. And we saw the same thing last lap.
Deja vu all over again as he runs up the inside. That time they didn't have to bump to do it, though. But you see by doing that, he has to run a tighter line, and the Fandozzi car gets a better run off the corner with a bigger radius.
And even if he gets side by side with him, he's going to be driver's left as they head down to turn 1, and you can't make the move from there. Fandozzi holds on to the lead, but as I said, the more they bump, the more he gets inside of him, the more they touch, the closer he is, the more Fandozzi has to concentrate hard on what's going on. Two very different lines as well, Dorsey.
And Fandozzi's line is faster of the two. I'm surprised right now that either Brett's car doesn't want to cut real well through the middle of that corner, but you're right. I mean, he's out real wide and losing ground. Like I said, Kevin's car is good on that end of the racetrack.
For the back in the field, battles all around this racetrack. We said in Touring 3, good battles everywhere. You saw the number 8 flash by, Don Himes. Another of the Honda S2000s, and right behind him was the 71 of Richard Dickey. So these two guys having a good go of it as well, and that's the battle for 13th. Right in front of them, the 32 of Joseph Aquilante. We talked about the Phoenix Motorsports entry. Aquilante right there in front, running 12.
They're going to catch Aquilani here with the battle that they have on behind them. Don Himes really getting close now.
Well, Aquilante finished 3rd in showroom stock GT at the runoff, so he knows how to do that. He's had 6 top 10 finishes, 4 top 5s. Not running where he wants to right now in that little Chevy Cobalt out of the top 10, but I tell you what, you're right, Dorsey. These guys are closing in. They're going to be there, and they are there. When they get to the bus stop, that 8-9 combination this time, that's going to be an issue. Talk about issues, back to the front.
Here we go again. A little shove maybe? No, this time they're going to keep it clean. See, he runs a bigger radius. That'll give him more speed. Maybe he can draft by up here now. I mean, that's what he's thinking. That's what he's trying.
More patience that time on the part of Brett Spaulding. As you said, Dorsey elected not to dive down to the inside. He's going to try something else, but I think the 34 just really has the legs.
It's got legs on the top end, that's for sure. You see it on these high-speed corners. You'll see once again if the 12 is wide and takes that funny line that he's been taking, kind of middle of the track out.
Out of turn 2, uses all the road into turn 3, the carousel.
This is the corner where you really see the difference between the two driving style.
Carving through there. A tighter line that time, and I wonder if Brett Spaulding is going to school a little bit on FANDOZZI. Sometimes when you run behind a guy, if he's beating you through a corner, if you're smart, you'll look at it and say, how is he doing that? And he'll learn a little bit. Back to that battle that we were talking about before. Aquilante in the 32, then the 8 of Himes, the 71 of Dickey. These guys still going at it for the 12th position.
I think for Himes, with Dickey pressuring him from behind like that, he's going to have to rear view mirror drive and forget about Aquilani in front of him for just a little while.
Another good indication of what Touring 3 is, the Chevy Cobalt, the Honda S2000, and then the Mazda RX-8, all doing battle. And you can see a lot of rubber on the racetrack as well, a lot of marbles out there. Touring 3 battle continues from Heartland Park, Topeka. Kevin FANDOZZI holds on to it, but there are battles everywhere. You want to know how close it is? It's right there, and you won't miss it. Make sure you stay with us here for Touring 3. FANDOZZI, Spaulding, Hines, that is your top 3 from Topeka.
Like the drivers who come from across the entire country, so do the corner workers from the East Coast to the West Coast. They're volunteering their time for the love of this sport, communicating to the drivers through flags, keeping the track clear of incidents, and ultimately keeping this program running smooth. So if you love motorsports, if you love speed, grab a flag and come on out to the racetrack.
Here are the corner workers right here. Look at them working on a piece of that big safer kind of barrier deal, big blocks of styrofoam coming onto the front straightaway. Somebody got into it, pulled it out there. They're putting it back where it needs to be.
Yep. We'll see here in a second who did that, and guess who? Bob Boileau, who had all the excitement early in this race.
Now remember, Boileau going after the Triple Crown here, and he's kind of made amends for the early going. He's back up to 4, so having a decent run after he got things gathered up. Got taken advantage of at the start a couple of times, I think, but he's back to having a good run. You know, you can't run without crew to help you work on the car. You can't run without tires. You can't run without a car, but you can't run without corner workers. You can't go to a racetrack and run a race without corner workers, and all of those people volunteer their time to be here. So a big thanks to every corner worker standing on each and every one of these corners around this racetrack. Back up front, still at it, Kevin FANDOZZI, Brett Spaulding. Remember, Spaulding at 20 is the youngest driver in this field. So right now, not a lot of experience, but he is a go-kart racer, and he knows how to run wheel to wheel. If you race go-karts and win, you're good with competition. And right now, Brett Spaulding certainly showing that he is. But I'll tell you what, Dorsey, FANDOZZI has not put a wheel wrong under intense pressure.
No, he sure hasn't. I mean, I think he knows now, having seen the attack from behind, he knows where he's stronger and he can utilize that. Look at Boileau now, up to 3rd.
Talk about attack. Did you see the speed at which he went past Rob Hines there out of turn 2? Great exit speed, just drove past him, and Boileau on a charge. Those two guys get together at the front. Bob Boileau may get his national championship and his Triple Crown.
Well, talking with Bob over the week, he really wanted to do the Triple Crown and get this championship. You know, he really thought he had the right car to do it in, and this might help him too, because now the two Cobalts running side by side again. Spaulding really putting on pressure on the other side of the circuit now. It's the first time he's been close enough to FANDOZZI to make an attack on that end of the circuit.
Boileau's been in 2 runoffs with a best finish of 4th in 2007 in Touring 3, so he's already improved on that. And if these two guys have a problem, I'm telling you, he could be right there to take it. They've raced clean, they've raced hard through 14 laps of competition, working on 15 right now. Excuse me, just want to let you know I'm still here, Brett Spaulding says to Kevin FANDOZZI. And the front end of that little cobalt is going to need to be reworked after this race, as is the rear bumper on Fandozzi's car.
I think right now Brett has got the far superior car. Watch, he's going to go up the inside.
Oh, and Fandozzi a little faint to block, but once again, Spaude finds himself on the wrong side of the racetrack unless he has the momentum, Dorsey.
Well, he's on the wrong side of the racetrack, but he really doesn't have a choice because Fandozzi's not going to just give it to him. Now they're rubbing up the front straightaway.
Man, and if you're Fandozzi, you don't want to lean on him like that. He's right on your rear bumper. He can turn you on the straightaway.
Oh, you can turn somebody so easy like that, Brian. No doubt about it. I think Spaude's being held up, though. I think if he gets around, he's going to take off.
I agree. Brett Spaude more than likely has the fastest car right now in the Touring 3 National Championship runoffs, but he's got to get past Kevin Fandozzi. And I think we're beginning to see a little desperation on Fandozzi's part in his driving, trying to block different lines. He knows that Brett Spaude has the strength right now.
No doubt. There's 3 laps to go. And I mean, Spaude is trying every corner and everything he can to get that nose in there.
Battle is intense up front, and it has been since the drop of the green. Spaude looks to the inside yet again and the outside. It's been this way all race long. Stay with us. Touring 3, just as hot as it has been since the drop of the green flag. Kevin Fandozzi in the number 34 still holds the lead. Brett Spaude, I think, has the lead at times, Dorsey, but he just can't get there and hold it.
You know what he's going to have to do? If that's the only place he can make his move, is he's going to have to get to the inside and then force Fandozzi out to the grass. You know, just go door to door and push him out of the way, because it's killing his momentum to be pinched down that tight in that corner.
It is a virtual drag race to turn 1, side by side. And Spaude just can't stay on the outside, I don't think, but this time he shoves it up the inside at the apex of 2.
This'll work.
And side by side into 3. He should have the preferred line here, Dorsey.
This'll work, no doubt about it. Did a great job of holding the car, and you saw how hard both drivers tried not to hit each other right then, because it could have been easily done.
And now we're going to find out just how good the car of Brett Spaude is. We said it looked to be the better of the 2, and that if he could get by, he would clear him. Now he's past Fandozzi. We'll see if he can build up a lead.
Yeah, I think he will. Take a good look at this. This is good driving by both cars. Side by side, they enter this corner. One up on the curb gets loose. Spaude gets loose, and they could have hit door to door there, but they both held off.
And they've been rubbing. You see the donuts down the side of it, but you're exactly right. That pass required 2 very good drivers to pull off and make sure it was clean. Hats off to both of them. Spaude takes over the position, but Fandozzi, great job by him to allow that to happen without crashing both of them. And I think the tires are gone on Kevin Fandozzi's car.
Well, he got out wide, got in the marbles. I saw that, and then he lost grip, went off in the grass, did a good job. Then there's Bob Boileau, who's catching up.
Boileau closing down 6.5 seconds at the line the last time. As they come by this next time, we'll have to look and see, but they're running out of laps. 16 in the book, working 17 right now, so it should be the final lap as he flashes across the line the next time by. And I think what we're seeing here is exactly what we said, Dorsey. Brett Spaude, 20 years old, had the better car. I don't know if it's the better tires or he just took care of it a little bit better, but once he has cleared Fandozzi, he has really begun to pull away. Boileau in the background onto the front straightaway. At the line, 17 in the books, working 18, 1 to go.
Boileau really doing a good job late in this race. It could have been what they talked about early on, that the Cobalts would run off their front tires a little bit. Right now, that Honda's turning the fastest lap time, but being roughed up at the beginning of the race and falling so far back, I think it's just too much too late.
Bob Boileau closed the gap down to just right at 6 seconds that last time by.
He's in the trying, buddy.
In the dirt and everything else. But I think his hopes faded once Spaude got past Fandozzi. His only hope, I think, to catch him was for those 2 guys to get together and slow them down. The battle that we visited earlier, the battle for 12th between the 32 of Joe Aquilante, still rages. Aquilante still holding down that spot. The aid of Don Himes right behind him in that Honda S2000. This battle has been this way since the drop of the green as well.
They're just not close enough for anything to happen on the last lap, as long as no one makes a mistake.
Down into turn 1, Aquilante with about 3 car lengths over Himes. Nothing these two would like better than to get to the top 10. Sometimes you know that you're not going to walk away with a runoffs victory, but anytime you can finish in the top 10, you can leave the racetrack and feel like you've done a good job. I know the competitor that Aquilante is, A, he's having fun right now, but B, he still wants to finish
Boy, and
as
Don
well as he
Hines
can.
moved right in, took all of that deficit away, and he's got a half a lap to get it done.
Well, maybe what we're seeing here, Dorsey, is what the boys were talking about at the beginning. Perhaps the tires on that Cobalt of Joe Aquilante gone, and that Honda S2000 of Himes just a little better handling right now. Certainly what it looks like. Look at Himes looking up the inside.
Oh, man, that's going to go right to the wire for these two boys.
Great battle going on there between two different marks, and there it is, the checkered flag. 20-year-old Brett Spaude takes his first SCCA National Championship, from go-karts to a national championship in the SCCA. This young man has plenty to celebrate. Fandozzi was second. Boilo comes home third, but back to the battle of Aquilante and Himes, the battle for 12th.
Oh, Aquilante does a little bit of a down the middle of the road deal, not giving that inside up for anything.
The Cobalt, a small car, but when you place it in the middle of the racetrack, it seems pretty wide. Through the tight section here, turns 11 through 14. The S2000 seems to have the advantage, but Joe Aquilante has years of experience, and he places that Chevy Cobalt right in the middle of the racetrack, saying, if you're going to find a way by me, you're going to have to work very hard. A drag race out of 14 down the front straightaway. Aquilante, one more gear shift, and he'll come home with 12th place here at the Runoffs, the 45th running of the SCCA National Championships, and it has been a great one in Touring 3. There's your winner, 20-year-old Brett Spaude. A great run, race-long battle with Kevin Fandozzi, but he shows maturity beyond his years, and he takes the checkered flag. We'll be back to all the celebrations right after this. Battle for Touring 3 National Championship is done from Heartland Park, Topeka, and it was a great battle from the drop of the green. Brett Spaude took it, but a race-long battle with Kevin Fandozzi. One of the better Touring 3 races we've seen in quite some time. Let's head straight down to the pits and the celebrations in pit lane. Mike?
Well, first time to Heartland Park, first runoffs, and your first national championship. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about that battle with the 34 car. I mean, back and forth the whole race long. I mean, you got the whole right side of your car's black, and this is a yellow car.
Well, it just, we kept trying, and finally got an opening spot and just kind of took it.
Well, it looked like a couple times you were side by side going into one, but on the outside. So, you know, how did you eventually get it to stick around turns 1 and 2?
Just eventually just held it in there and just let him, you know, side by side, and I just used the curb and just ended up on the good side on the end.
Well, that's always a point, and sometimes it's even better to be on the good side, which is the front end, and leading going under the checkered flag. Great job.
Thank you very much.
I was on the good side at the end. You always want to be there, don't you, Dorsey?
Yeah, I'd like to be there.
Great run by this 20-year-old. We'll see more from him in the future, I feel certain. That was a great, great battle with Fandozzi from the drop of the green, and it was spectacular. Really battles all throughout the field. Take a look at the results. Talked about the battle with Spaude and Fandozzi. Bob Boilo, he put on quite a show as well after getting shuffled back at the start. Can't help but wonder what would have been if the start had been a little better for him.
No doubt about that. Bob did put on the show for the fans who were here, for sure. No doubt. But
And Joe Aquilante and Don Himes had that great race-long battle as well. Another battle between a Cobalt and a Honda S2000. Different tire manufacturers in there as well. We talked about different manufacturers of cars, different manufacturers of tires here in Touring 3. And we saw those battles play themselves out all throughout this event. For second, let's head down to Chris Neville.
Well, battle scars aplenty on Kevin Fandozzi's car too, and you can see this right front tire completely used up. Some of the wires showing through that Hoosier. And Kevin, you and Brett just had a great battle, but he stuck by you right there in the closing laps.
Yeah, he stuck to me good and forced me to put the car in places I didn't want to put it, and he did a hell of a job. Hoosier tires never quit. You see the tire, but the tire was there. And just a great show. SCCA puts on a great race.
Last year you finished 22nd. You had a spin. Right. So this year, second place, got to feel pretty good.
Yeah. It's easy to move up from 22nd. And like I said, conditions are a little bit better this year. So we went out and gave it the best we could.
Congratulations. Mike?
Bob, you were looking for a triple crown, but a runoffs podium still just about as good.
You know what? I've never been on the podium here. I mean, it's amazing. That was the best race. I thought these guys were going to back up to us, but I needed about 4 more laps.
Well, it was a great run anyway. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
I think he needed a better first lap. If he hadn't have been assaulted at the drop of the green and hadn't had his problems over there in 8 and 9, who knows? But that's why you got to race all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and he was right. I think he needed some more laps. He was coming. He was headed forward for sure because those Cobalts, you saw that tread hanging out there. So,
well, I think the Honda S2000 guys had the right idea. The Cobalt definitely punished the front tires. We saw it there on Fandozzi's car. But what could have been, what would have been for Bob Boileau and his S2000 if the start had been just a bit cleaner. Well, it's been a great Touring 3 battle from the SCCA National Championship runoffs. We said the 45th time people have battled for the gold medal here, and it has been a great one from Heartland Park, Topeka. For Dorsey Schrader, Mike Johnson, Chris Neville, I'm Brian Till. Make sure you catch all the runoffs action right here, only on Speed. So long, everybody.